Let's talk this a little bit more with Kevin McGarry, president of Every Black Life Matters. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. I saw you shaking your head while I was reading that. Shaun King, and we'll get to the others, but Shaun King, tell us, it's a breaking news today. I guess we found out he's spending $850K on a house. Your thoughts?
Yeah, imagine that, Eric. First of all, congratulations on the show. It's a real honor and privilege to be here. So thank you for having me. But imagine that you have revolutionary Marxists that are enriching themselves once again. I mean, we've had a lot of stories over these past several months of these revolutionary Marxists, self-proclaimed, that are somehow finding a way to enrich themselves via capitalism and taking full advantage of the system, right? It's a shame that so many of these folks who have, attached themselves to a tragedy last summer are finding a way to take some of the riches and actually, come out on top somehow after proclaiming themselves to be Marxists.
And Kevin, we talk about Shaun King here, but he's had a history of questionable dealings with his charitable organizations. But what about Patrisse Cullors? I mean, she was one of the founders of Black Lives Matter, and all of a sudden we find out that she bought 3 mansions, millions of dollars worth of real estate. How do you amass that kind of wealth working for Black Lives Matter?
Well, here's what's interesting. I think it was 3 or 4 mansions. Black Lives Matter apparently amassed somewhere around, I think it was $10 or so billion over the next several years in commitments from large organizations and sports teams and that. So that's a lot of money to spread around. And what's unfortunate is we still have in our major cities across the country children being slaughtered, a lot of unfortunate Black families that are being harassed and maimed, and a lot of families that are having to endure hostilities and violence. And unfortunately, those Black lives aren't mattering too much. And so it's really unfortunate that it seems like the people at the top of some of these major Black movements are moving out of out of these urban communities and into their mansions. At the same time, we're having Blacks and Black families that are having to endure atrocities and a lot of real heartbreaks.
So, Kevin, tell us about Every Black Life Matters. You aren't of the defund the police crowd, are you?
No. So this is exactly why Every Black Life Matters started. The reason why we started is because we saw last summer the same horror that a lot of others saw. But we realized that once people got a wind that the violence and the hatred and the riots and all of this that BLM was perpetrating at the time, that once people got wind that BLM was the kind of organization that they are, they would want a faithful and righteous organization. And so we started, and we are in mind. So that means we are pro-Black life from conception and every phase of Black life in between. That would mean pro-school choice, pro-father in the home, pro-nuclear family, pro-free markets and capitalism, nuclear family, all of those things. So we really stand up for Black life in every phase of Black life. So that would include criminal justice reforms, and that would include all of those things, and we are pro encouraging encouraging actually funding police and additional police as opposed to defunding police. So we are actually encouraging that police should be in our communities at even greater levels as opposed to defunding police. It's actually, when you defund police, it's the Black families and Black communities that are most susceptible to additional crimes as opposed to reduced crimes. And if you look at the crime statistics over the past several months, you'll see that it's the Black families that have been most vulnerable, and it's the it's the mayors in those cities that have their personal security, and it's the Black families that have been most vulnerable in
Indeed,
these.
Indeed, Kevin, indeed, and the statistics bear that out. We're going to thank you for your time, Kevin McGarry. Appreciate you joining us today.
Appreciate it.